два, раз, два, три.
Весняному саду, моя любов, веселий спів, з яким я в світ іду. О, як тебе кохаю я, єдина я моя, тому коханню не зміліть, аж вискнуть всі моря. О, як тебе кохаю я, єдина я моя, тому коханню не зміліть, аж вискнуть всі моря. Нехай поскнуть усі моря, потануть брили скал, та ти навік, любов моя, аж згасне сонця пал. Прощай, прощай, мій рідний край, прощай, моя любов, та де б не був я, мила, знай, до тебе верну знов. Прощай, прощай, мій рідний край, прощай, моя любов, та де б не був я, мила, знай, до тебе верну знов. Єдина я моя. О, як тебе кохаю я, єдина я моя.
And the multi-talented Picardisca Tercia. I don't know how a group of guys could make so much sound with just their voices. Obviously, that's one of the many reasons that they're very popular in Ukraine and continue to be around. They've been around for a long time. That song that you just heard is called Moya Lyubo, My Love, and that was recorded back in 1999 on an album called Ya Prидumаю Svit. And again, that was Moja Любов. That was Picardisca Tercia. Добрий вечір, дорогі радіослухачі, та вітаю вас всіх на радіопрограму «Наш голос» радіо українського коріння, котра подається вам, як звичайно, щосуботи о 6 годині на багатомовній радіостанції AM 1320 CHMB у місті Ванкувері і по мережі PCJ Радіо Міжнародному. При мікрофоні Павліна Макворі. Дякую, що рішили перебути зі мною наступну годину. Ми маємо дуже цікаві новини на сьогоднішній програмі. Hello there and welcome to Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio, coming to you here on AM 1320, CHMB Vancouver, and in international syndication on PCJ Radio International. I'm your host, Paula Demchik-Macquarie, Pogrinska Pavlina, and I'm delighted to have you with me. Today we've got a great interview on Ukrainian Jewish heritage with Dr. Ihor Strupak. He is an eminent scholar and an educator. It's actually one of those people that is changing a country and much for the better. So he'll be telling us a little bit about his current project, which is his second PhD thesis, and it is all about Ukrainians who rescued Jews during the Holocaust. So stay tuned for that. As well, we've got our usual proverb of the week, other items of interest, and great Ukrainian music. And coming up next is closer to home, a group from Winnipeg. They are called Shum, and this is their rendition of a Canadian classic written by Ron Cahoot. It is the story of the Cossacks, Fly Cossack.
Get so
be enslaved to another man. And if that Cossack has to die, then let him find his glory beneath the skies. You could hear of how and why he had to die that way. There was nothing as too high a price to pay. He still lives on the hearts of men today. So won't you fly, Cossack, try, Cossack, against the Turks and Tartars, go, Cossack, show, Cossack, that is where your heart is be, Cossack, free, Cossack, lead us on to victory. God be with you, live, Cossack, love, Cossack, such a spirit must be free, Cossack, be, Cossack, freedom is for you and me, we are brothers for eternity.
Thanks to the foresight and generosity of its donors, the Taras Shevchenko Foundation has been investing in the future of the Ukrainian-Canadian community for over 50 years. Since 1963, the Taras Shevchenko Foundation has been funding initiatives that strengthen our Ukrainian-Canadian identity and enhance our Ukrainian-Canadian cultural heritage. These include fine and performing arts and arts groups, museums, cultural centers, education, as well as authors, journalists, and the Ukrainian-Canadian media, including this program. The foundation strives to become the premier not-for-profit foundation in Canada, which acknowledges the Ukrainian-Canadian community as a fundamental component of Canadian society. Nash Holos listeners are encouraged to support this vision through continued donations into the future. To apply for grants, make a donation, or for more information, visit ShevchenkoFoundation.com.
Забрали собою, ой, ти гаю. забрали з собою. Ой, ти гаю, гаю молодая, підманули гаю, забрали з собою.
And a very popular and prolific group from Edmonton called Millennia. That is from their CD Bratia, which means brothers, and that is their third CD. And that song was called Yichale Kozake, Here Come the Cossacks, also known as Halya. A very sad story of, it's a moral in that story. Listen to your mom, stay close to home, and don't go asking for trouble. At least that's how I interpret it. Anyways, again, that was Millennia from Edmonton, and just heard from Ryan in an email, and he told me that they've just released another CD. This is actually their fifth. It will be called Bud Mohe, and he's sending it in the mail. We'll be sharing some music with you from that CD, probably all of it, like all their other 4 CDs. And maybe we'll have a little chat with Ryan and the boys as well in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, here is another Edmonton group, and they are called Euphoria. This is from their first CD, which they released a year ago this past summer. And it is an interesting arrangement of Eva Suk classic, Yapiduv Daleki Hore, Into the Hills.
Гори на широкі полонини і попрошу вітру з ворів, аби він не спав до днини.
Щоб летів на вільних крилах, на кічері і діброви, і дізнасте моя мила, карі очі, чорні брови. Чакля тебе, весь блакитний світ. Я несу любов зажу, мрію молоду, і сади цвітуть для мене, я до тебе йду. Полетіти не захоче, все одно знайду дівчину, чорні брови, карі очі. Перейду я бистрі ріки, і Бескиди, і діброви, і шляхи мені покажуть,
Карі очі, чорні брови. Чакля тебе, весь блакитний світ. Я несу любов ажуру, мрію молоду, і сади цвітуть для мене, як до тебе йду.
щоб миряни та й на гору втоптали дорожку. По пітином жаба ряба лізла, буде тобі, мій миленький, голова облізла. Ох, лежать синки, як підсвинки. Ох, лежать з матерями, а ми, дівки, паняночки, гуляємо самі.
Попіте нам, кобила блудива. Хоче я ж то, дівчинонько,
Запаско згубила.
Щойно наші на вулиці знесла курка двоє. Ой-ой-ой, хто не вийде на вулицю?
And a very unusual, extremely successful and popular group from Ukraine called Dacha Bracha. And they bill themselves as a world music quartet. And they have been here on the West Coast in the past. And they are coming back. They will be in Duncan on Vancouver Island on Sunday, October 20th at the Cowichan Performing Arts Center. And if you happen to tune in to the Nanaimo edition of Nash Holos on Wednesday, October 16th, I'll be giving away two pairs of tickets to that show. So make sure that you tune in and call in to win a pair of free tickets to see Dacha Bracha at the Cowichan Performing Arts Center in Duncan on Sunday, October 20th at 7:30 p.m.
This is CHMB, AM 1320, Vancouver.
And now for a look at Ukraine's rich Jewish heritage, then and now, brought to you by the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter based in Toronto, Ontario. In 1963, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center, Yad Vashem, established a worldwide project to grant the title of Righteous Among the Nations to non-Jews who helped save Jewish lives during the Holocaust. To this end, Yad Vashem established a rigorous examination process before conveying the honor and commemorating the names on the Mount of Remembrance in Jerusalem. In Eastern Europe, Ukrainians, Poles, and others have received the honor of being named Righteous Among the Nations. But shifting borders caused by political upheaval before, during, and after the Second World War sometimes made it difficult to properly identify the ethnicity of those being honored. Dr. Ihor Shchupak is the director of the Tukuma Ukrainian Institute for Holocaust Studies, the largest Jewish institution in Ukraine dedicated to Jewish history, located in the Menorah Center in Dnipro, Ukraine. He's the author of over 120 scientific works in the field and a member of the Ukrainian government's working group on upgrading educational programs and history textbooks. He has published several history textbooks, one of which has been adopted by the majority of schools throughout Ukraine today. Dr. Shchupak holds dual citizenship in Canada as well as Ukraine, his country of birth, and he works closely with the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter, the Ukrainian Canadian Resource Development Centre, and the Canadian Institute for Ukrainian Studies here in Canada. He's currently researching the misidentification of Ukrainians as Poles who saved Jews during the Holocaust in his work toward his second PhD. He kindly took time out of his very busy schedule to tell us a bit about his work and his research. Dr. Shchupak, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Thank you very much for this introduction. First of all, I'd like to apologize for my broken English. Although these days of Russian aggression against Ukraine, it's better to speak broken English than sophisticated Russian.
You bet.
And yes, you are right. I'm director of Tukuma Institute, but not only. I'm director of Museum Jewish Memory and Holocaust in Ukraine. This museum was opened in 2012, and it's biggest museum dedicated to Jewish history, Jewish memory, and Holocaust in the context of Jewish history in Ukraine. And I live in Dnipro and in Toronto. In 2002, I immigrated to Canada, and now I'm a dual citizen of both. Mm-hmm. My biggest project now in Dnipro, you're right, because Dnipro is an official Jewish capital of Ukraine.
Interesting.
And the Center of Holocaust Studies in Ukraine, thanks to Tukuma Institute and Museum Jewish Memory and Holocaust in Ukraine. And we have different aspects, different directions of our activity. First of all, it's scholarly work. We organize conferences and seminars, and we publish books. Every year, we publish 10, 12, 15 book monographies and articles and special scholarly journal, Holocaust Studies, Ukrainian focus. And we organize educational work, first of all, with Ukrainian teachers, because from my opinion, and not only my opinion, teachers are multiplicators for share information about Holocaust and Holocaust lessons and etc. And we organize public events and mobile museum exhibitions in Ukraine, and not only. We had mobile exhibits in Brussels, in the Europarlament, in the United Nations office in New York, and etc. etc.
Oh my, wow, that's a lot of mobile locations. You mentioned that you do publications as well.
Many publications we publish dedicated to Righteous Among Nations. It's a very important subject of our activity. For example, in 2016, we released a reference book, Ukrainian Rescues of Jews During the Holocaust. It contains information about all the inhabitants of Ukraine recognized as righteous, based on Yad Vashem date and our own research. And the introduction article to this guide is very important. It is called A Book About Those Who Return People's Confidence. This philosophical and deep article wrote Miroslav Marinovich, our friend and partner. He's prorector of Ukrainian Catholic University,
Right.
former dissident, and one of the Ukrainian Helsinki Union founders. But he published different books dedicated to Holocaust, general questions, and dedicated to different aspects of Second World War and relationship between different ethnic groups and etc. And special point, I am author of textbooks for public schools of Ukraine, and I'm winner of all Ukrainian competition for textbook for regular public school. And on this year, for example, Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine published my book for last place of public school and world history and history of Ukraine and etc. etc. It's very important because, for example, in this year we published 300,000 copies of this textbook, and it's a real possibility for influence to young generation and etc.
Oh, definitely. The focus of your second PhD is if one isn't enough, you have to go for a second one. And you're focusing on the Ukrainian righteous among the nations.
Yeah, but not only. The subject of my second dissertation, my second thesis, Ukrainian rescues of Jews during the Holocaust. Not only righteous among nations, including righteous among nations, but not only. And I'd like to say a few words about this definition because terminology is an important issue in the study of the phenomenon of refugees from the Holocaust on the territory of Ukraine. Now, in the public space, we have three terms, three definitions. First of all, righteous among nations. This title given by Yad Vashem. And in public space, we have a title Righteous of Ukraine and Righteous of Babi Yar. But we know about Ukrainians, Poles, and representatives of other ethnic groups who don't have this official title. But I know from different documents, first of all from Lviv State Archive, about terrorism of people trying to rescue Jews on the period of Second World War. You know, by the way, the first person linked to Ukrainian righteous was Olena Viter, Greek Catholic Mother Superior and member of Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists. Olena Viter sheltered Jewish children from the Nazis in Lviv orphanage, which was under her care during the years of German occupation. Before Olena Viter, there also were Ukrainian representatives whose names were written as Polish or USSR citizens. In 1976, Olena insisted that Ukraine should be written as her motherland. And now, you know, we have official table of Yad Vashem about different righteous among the nations from different countries. And the country number one is Poland, more than 6,400 righteous. Second place, Holland, Netherlands, 5,600. France, number three, more than 4,000. And Ukraine, place number 4, 2,600 and more. But specific on the research is problematic because the work on the searching Ukrainian righteous among the nations was not active before the collapse of the Soviet communist system. And found only 160 righteous before 1991.
Oh.
And from 1991 until now, almost 2,500. But however, we understand that after 1991, much less living witnesses of the Holocaust and the rescues are left. It is obvious that the actual number of Ukrainian rescues significantly exceeds the official Yad Vashem date.
That's interesting. Now, you said 160 up to 1991. And then
Yeah.
after 1991, 2,000, 2,500. So why is this question of the righteous among the nations and even those that aren't yet honored that way, why is this so important to you and your colleagues?
First of all, I'm a Ukrainian Jew,
Mm-hmm.
and it's my honor to research this problematic. I'd like to say thanks to these Ukrainian heroes. It's my human task. I'm historian,
Mm-hmm.
and I have many questions to this problem. For example, who rescued the Jew of Ukraine? Ethnic identity, by social and etc. What's the reason of risk of life of family, children, for rescue of other people, rescue of Jews? And it's very important for me, Ukrainian and Canadian citizen and historian, looking for answer to these questions. It's very difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but now I have my opinions about this subject, and I can say that more often the following categories of people were the rescues of Jews was first of all locals, Ukrainians, Poles, sometimes Russians, who had Jewish relatives,
Mm-hmm.
husbands, parents, and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Second category is partisans and undergrounds who perceived the rescue of the Jews as forms of resistance to the occupiers.
Mm-hmm.
Third group is inhabitants who were united with the Jews and the memory of the Jewish neighbors' good deeds in critical situations. And I can give the example. In Vinnytsia region, the local Ukrainian peasants decided to help the Jews who, during the years of collectivization, stood up for a local priest. It was very important for Ukrainian population.
Mm-hmm.
Or the cases of Jewish rescue by Ukrainians were quite common because of religious beliefs, Christian attitude towards persecuted. But I have to admit that I don't have the answers for the main question about rescue's motivation. How could they risk the lives of their children?
Right.
And I remember one of the rescued Jew during the interview. He said, "I could give a beautiful answer, but I'll tell you that I have children and grandchildren who I love very much, most of all in the world. And in a similar situation, I could not risk for sake of others. And my rescue, she had 5 children who she also loved very much. Why she do this? I think she's just an angel.
An angel?
Angel. Yeah,
Aw.
angel. Angel from sky.
Hmm.
And we talk about relationship between Ukrainian and Jewish population, between different social, religious groups, and etc. But the main point of Second World War was politics of totalitarian regimes. First of all, Nazi Germany and Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, in general, it should be emphasized that any Ukrainian political force or military organization did not stand up for the Jews during Shoah in Ukraine. But we have unique examples of heroism of concrete people. For example, Metropolitan Andrei Sheptitsky or Omelan Koch and etc. And I'm satisfied because we created first hall dedicated to Metropolitan Andrei Sheptitsky in our museum.
That's at the Menorah Center in Dnipro. You have, in the museum, you have an exhibit dedicated to Metropolitan Sheptitsky.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I'd like to say and make accent, it's first museum exhibition dedicated to Metropolitan Andrei Sheptitsky and hero life and Rescue of Jews. In Jewish Museum, we have this first exhibition. But we have many other specific exhibitions because we want to show Jewish tragedy and Holocaust in the context of other genocide. For this reason, we organized a special exhibition dedicated to Holodomor, 1932-33, and different aspects of this genocide, including religion, social, ethnic role of Jewish and Russian and Polish and Ukrainian persons in organizing of Holocaust. And we know main victims of Holodomor was Ukrainian ethnic population. Sometime in different areas, 90 and more percent. But it was not only Ukrainian in small Jewish status and in German colonies was Jew or German. And my personal grandfather, Isaac Shtupak, was victim of Holodomor in Nikolaev Oblast, and many members of my family was victims of Holodomor. And we organized this exhibition to show different aspects of genocide. And we organized first exhibition in Ukraine dedicated to tragedy on Roma population. And we organized exhibition dedicated to tragedy of Crimean Tatars in 1944 and other groups, including Armenians of Crimea and Bulgarian and etc. And we need to show general picture of world history and Ukrainian history, and on this content to show Holocaust and Jewish history. And if we want to show tragedy of Holocaust, we need to show content of other genocide. First of all, on Ukrainian territory, it's Holodomor and deportation of Crimean Tatars. And it's necessary from scholarly conclusions of Raphael Lemkin. He was author of definition genocide.
Right.
And the subject of scholarly work of Lemkin was Holodomor and Armenian genocide and Holocaust.
Oh.
And, he is author of the resolution of United Nations about genocide after Second World War.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Soviet Union had special politics against memory about Holodomor, and no Holodomor meaning in this conception. But we know about main reason of this conception, and we can read, for example, different articles of Professor Serbin in Montreal or Professor Kolchitsky in Ukraine, and etc., etc.
I'm speaking with Dr. Ihor Shtupak with the Tukuma Ukrainian Institute, the largest Jewish institution in Ukraine dedicated to Jewish history. Dr. Shtupak is the director of Tukuma and also of a museum dedicated to the Holocaust in the context of other genocides. He is currently working on his second PhD, the focus of which is Ukrainians who rescued Jews during the Holocaust but were incorrectly identified in historical records. Dr. Shtupak will tell us more about his research on them in the next episode of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage. So until then, thanks for listening, and shalom. Ukrainian Jewish Heritage is brought to you by the Ukrainian Jewish Encounter based in Toronto, Ontario. To find out more about their work, visit their website and follow them on Facebook and Twitter. Transcripts and audio files of this and earlier broadcasts of Ukrainian Jewish Heritage are available at their website, ukrainianjewishencounter.org, as well as at the Nash Holos website, www.nashholos.com. And that is a local group called the Wheat in the Barley, and it is Freilich, a Jewish circle dance from their CD After the Battle that was recorded quite a few years ago. I got it shortly after I actually ran into them. I didn't run into them. I heard them singing on BC Ferries and had a chat with them, the founder Steve Godora, and they are still around. They're just released another CD, and you can find out all about them on their website, wheatinthebarley.com. You've been listening to Nash Holos Ukrainian Roots Radio, our flagship show in Vancouver, coming to you Saturdays from 6 to 7 p.m. here on AM 1320 CHMB on the radio dial and online at am1320.com, as well in international syndication on PCJ Radio International. In between broadcasts, please visit us online at www.nashholos.com, where you'll find transcripts, archived audio files, interviews, linked to the Nash Holos podcast, and information about the show, including a reminder of when we air in Nanaimo on Wednesdays. And there's also a link to our Patreon site where you can support the show if you like. Again, that's www.nashholos.com. На жаль, ми вже скінчили нашу програму, вже час додому і сказати до побачення. Але перед тим я хочу залишити вас такими словами мудрості. Не пробуй догоджувати всім, бо тоді для тебе нічого не лишиться. And our proverb of the week translates as, do not try to satisfy everybody because nothing will be left for you. And with that, we've come to the end of our program, so we'll wrap it up with the Parkland Pioneers and the Parkland Polka. I'm Pavlina. On behalf of all of us here at Nash Holos and AM 1320, thanks for listening and Dobranich! Hi, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the show. If you're not yet a Patreon supporter of Nash Holos, I hope you'll consider becoming one today, with the digital equivalent of a cup of coffee once or twice a month, or maybe even a snack or a meal. There's an option for every budget, and even $1 a month tells me you value the show and my efforts to produce and bring it to you. Becoming a Patreon supporter will give you the opportunity to provide feedback to help me improve the show, create cool swag to promote it, and swap ideas on how to promote Ukrainian culture in between broadcasts and podcasts. Your contribution will also help to preserve a well-established on-air and online venue of almost 30 years running to continue promoting Ukrainian culture and heritage long after I've retired, which will happen sooner rather than later. Your contribution will help that transition happen, and future generations will be able to enjoy the music and other Nash Holos programming that you currently do. To become a Patreon supporter, just go to www.patreon.com and search for Nash Holos. That's patron with an E, spelled Patreon. or go to www.nashholos.com and click on the orange Patreon button on any page there. Thank you for listening and for your support. Щиро дякую.